Hey, it's your boy Crypto Expat Live, back with another video. In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is my go-to cryptocurrency. This is what I buy on a regular basis, and I look at this as a money tree. A chunk of money that just keeps on growing and growing and growing. Think of Bitcoin as, you put some money into a safe and then you leave it for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and then you open the safe back up just to check if the money is still in there. And all of a sudden the money is grown. There's like no more space in the safe. You're going to have to get a bigger safe because the money is actually grown. Well, you can't do that with fiat, but you can do that with Bitcoin. And that's the way I look at it. It's just a money source. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. And you should be thinking about Bitcoin as a long-term investment and as a retirement vehicle. So we're going to talk about where my prediction of Bitcoin will be. So let's roll that intro and let's get into the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and bell notification so when I upload my latest vids, you can get notified immediately. Right now, Bitcoin is $19,465.54. Now, we did see a dip here fall to $18,428 24 hours ago. And this would have been a good buying opportunity. But, guys, to be honest, I really don't look at the chart, and there's no need to look at the chart. Because my perspective on Bitcoin is long term. Why would I care what it does on a daily basis? If you look at the bigger picture here, Bitcoin here, historically, when there's been a dump in the price or like a bear market, it's always hit all-time highs. And really, if you look at it long term, you don't really care what happens on a daily basis, because what your job should be is buying this, accumulating it, as getting as much of this stuff as you can, because there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoin. So why is the price of Bitcoin going down right now? Well, it's related to the economy. The only way that something like Bitcoin is going to be moved is because if there's thousands and hundreds and thousands of sellers, liquidating their Bitcoin. So it's like there has to be this economic depression to move the price of Bitcoin. That is a good thing, because that is how much volume and the size of the market cap. I mean, it's a $372 billion asset now. And if we look at the total cryptocurrency, it's dipped under 980 billion in market cap. And Bitcoin has a 38% dominance. So that's a lot of money. And when someone sells off a little bit of Bitcoin, it's not going to really do anything. It's just going to be, people will just buy that dip up immediately. Funnily enough, when that crash, Terra Luna crashed, they actually, on the 9th of May, they actually sold off billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin reserves to try to stabilize the peg. And basically, if we're going to have a look at the 9th, nothing really happened. I mean, it's just kind of like a small dip. Here's like May the 10th. I mean, yeah, okay. It takes billions and hundreds of billions of dollars to move Bitcoin price. And the only way that's going to happen is because of the economy. We're talking scale of countries here, the economic crisis to affect Bitcoin. So why is Bitcoin dumping at the moment? Why is it on a downtrend? Is because of the economy in the US. There's inflation to the roof. Now, they're reporting, the official reports in the US is the government saying there's 8.3% inflation, and that is extremely high. So what they do is, everything costs more. Here you can see, food costs more, petrol costs more, rent costs more. Basically, everything is going to go up in price, but your wage is going to stay the same. So what the government does is it raises the interest rate. And the reason why they do that, here it says, in theory, the more expensive to borrow money or carry a balance on a credit card, consumers will spend less. When spending declines, demand will fall, and eventually so will the price of everyday goods, right? Eventually, right? So this is why they jack up the interest rates to stop people spending, and then hopefully things will, level out. Problem is, when people tighten their belts, what are the first things that they want to basically cover? It's like survival mode, right? You've got shelter, food, water. It's the bare essentials, okay? The bare essentials. And what is one of the things that people don't look at Bitcoin? They don't look at Bitcoin as a bare essential. They look at it as just something that they can trade or make money off. But when things get tight, what do? They sell Bitcoin, right? They sell it because they need fiat to pay for their daily expenses that they've over leveraged, and they're living beyond their means, which is most of America. So this has a massive effect. Again, the only reason why Bitcoin goes down, it takes economies to move Bitcoin. Just a couple of $1 billion selling off does nothing to Bitcoin. So this is what's going to happen. It is related to the economy at the moment, but the economy will come back, just as we saw in 2008 with the global financial crisis, GFC. It crashed. Everything crashed. Real estate, banks, but eventually it came back, right? And this is what happened. This is what's going to happen. It's just a cycle. This happens all the time, and that's why I don't even bother. I just buy more. All right. Now this is just my opinion, not financial advice. If we go and have a look at Glassnote, we can have a look at the active addresses here in Bitcoin. And what's interesting is if we go down here and look at the exchanges and the exchange balances, what always happens is when there's a sell-off, there's a lot of, obviously, people want to sell, liquidate their Bitcoin to fiat. So what do? They send their money to the exchanges. And whenever you see a dip in Bitcoin, you'll see a spike in exchanges. Sometimes it just, kind of like just mirrors it. But when there's major, major price movement, you'll see that there's tons of money in the exchanges and little money in wallets. And that's how people can track the price of Bitcoin, by just looking at who's spending, who's liquidating the Bitcoin, and who's hodling. And also, you can check all the Bitcoin wallets on the network. So if you have, if you're like an analytical nutcase and you want to track this stuff on a daily basis, you could do it. You could actually just watch the Bitcoin wallets, and then you can know what's going to go up and down. Because what happens is, once things start going down, everyone gets nervous and then they all sell. So you can actually track the movement of the exchanges, the volume, and then the how many wallets and who's holding, down to a T. Now, you don't know who those people are, but you can track the individual wallets if you're an analyst nutcase. And that's what happens. The exchanges, the volume of exchanges goes up, everyone's selling to fiat, and then the people that actually hodl their coins, you can see that as well. All right. You can also see the Bitcoin rich list. You can see the addresses with more than one Bitcoin, and then basically, the addresses with, look at this, 100,000 to 1 million Bitcoin. There's 5 addresses. 10,000 to 100,000. There's 92 addresses. And 1,000 Bitcoin, allowed to have 1,000 Bitcoin, to 10,000 Bitcoin, there's 2,035 addresses. So you could actually just, track all these addresses. It's not hard. You could just, use software, or there's systems out there that'll, give you that. Well, here it is here, right? These are the addresses here. So you could just come along to this website at bitinfocharts.com and come here on a daily basis. Look at the top rich list and see who's moving Bitcoin, who's selling Bitcoin. But I guarantee you this, the top 100, they're not selling shit. They're hodling, all right? They're hodling. So, and what's another thing that could influence Bitcoin long term, right? Because I hope you're thinking long term here. See this guy here? This guy was mining Bitcoin on a PC, in 2012 on a PC. Now, back in the day, you could do that. You could mine Bitcoin on a PC because the difficulty was low. The price of Bitcoin was only small. No one was really into it, or hardly any people into it. And you could mine Bitcoin on your PC. He was making about 8 to 12 Bitcoin a day mining on his PC. Bitcoin was not worth much back then. But you just kind of think about it, right? This guy here, he already saw Bitcoin back then in 2012. He already envisioned Bitcoin back then. Now look at the price now. It's 19,400, and it did reach an all-time high of $69,044.77 on November the 10th, 2021. So these are cycles. It's going to go up and down, up and down. Problem is now is you can't mine Bitcoin on your PC, right? You need massive amounts of machines, ASICs machines, to mine Bitcoin. To get an ASIC machine, it'll cost you about $4,500 just for the machine, and you're going to make about $1 a day of Bitcoin. Okay, that is how much the demand has gone up. The difficulty has gone up. When there's money to be made, people come in with huge money, big money. People come in and then they just kind of dominate that niche, and that's exactly what's happening in Bitcoin. So what's another factor? Well, according to our world in data.org, the population of the Earth grows at approximately 1 to 1.1% per year. So that's approximately about 80 million people are born every year into this world. So it's 8 billion today. In another 10 years' time, there's gonna be basically 10% more. So you can do the maths on that. 9 billion, or just less than 9 billion people. So the population growth is going to increase, and guess what? There's going to be more customers for Bitcoin. Now, obviously, those people are still going to be young, right? They're not going to have Bitcoin because they're only going to be like 7 or 8 years old. But you never know. You know, kids pick up on stuff. They adapt and technology very, very fast these days. And who knows about the price of Bitcoin, where it's going to be, 5-10 years time. But there's going to be more people on the planet. While what the governments do, what do? They keep on printing money. They are printing money. Guess what? Even gold. People that buy gold's great, yeah. It's all great, but there's massive amounts of gold reserves being hoarded by America, by Russia. Just go and Google gold reserves and who has the biggest gold reserves. They're hoarding it. At the meantime, people are still mining gold on a daily basis. There's hundreds of companies around the world that are, pulling gold out of the earth as we speak. So it's not rare as Bitcoin. It's not deflationary as well. The price of gold has not moved in a decade, or it's moved very little compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin has increased an average of 140% since it was created. Let me repeat that. Bitcoin has increased an average of 140% per year when it was created in its inception. So that just tells you how much Bitcoin has grown. And there's only 21 million coins. So we have this population that is continually growing. In the next 5 years to 10 years, they're going to know everything about Bitcoin, and they still have the opportunity to buy Bitcoin while it's still only under 20,000. So my prediction on Bitcoin is that we're going to see these cycles continue. We're in a bear market at the moment, but I love bear markets because that means I can buy Bitcoin cheap, and then I'm just going to wait around until the next bull market, and then I'm going to see my Bitcoin go up dramatically. In my opinion, not financial advice, I play the long game. Bitcoin, I see Bitcoin as an asset that's going to be around $1 million by 2030. Now that's a long way away. That's about 7.5 years away. But in that period of time, we've got what they call the Bitcoin halving. And the Bitcoin halving is when the reward of the Bitcoin mining is cut in half. Halving takes place every 4 years. Halving policy is written into the Bitcoin mining algorithm to counteract inflation by maintaining scarcity. Just read the Satoshi white paper, okay? This thing is created to be deflationary. That means in 2024, mid 2024, it's built into the algorithm that when we hit that next halving, every block is going to be halved. So the Bitcoin block is every 10 minutes there's a new block created. All the transactions, they go into the block, they get finalized, they're basically etched into stone, and then the next block, next 10 minutes and so forth till, eternity, right? So that block gives out so many rewards. There's so many miners mining those transactions in that 10 minutes, right? And there's only so much Bitcoin that is produced. Right now is 6.25 Bitcoins every block that is successfully mined. All right. So someone is getting a lot of Bitcoin. All right. Now, obviously not everyone, they pool, they make these huge pools, and they kind of that's how you can mine it and make Bitcoin, because you're just mining your percentage, your hash rate. So the 6.25 Bitcoin every block currently now. So the next halving in 2024, there's going to be half that, 3.125 Bitcoin. So there's the emissions, sometimes they call this emissions. It's a word that's used in cryptocurrency a lot. The emissions is going to be halved. That means that the current supply is going to be, circulating supply is going to be out there, but then also the emissions is going to be cut in half. So I want you to understand this. And then what typically happens with these Bitcoin halvings is not a lot, because during the actual point, it's not like we come to the halving in 2024 and then all of a sudden everything changes. No, it just gradually changes, because it needs to take effect, right? And then, but the one that's the most exciting is going to be 2024, in my opinion. So 6.25, then we divide that by 2. It keeps on dividing by 2, right? And then in 2028, there's going to be only 3.125 Bitcoin produced per block. The emission is getting low. Then in 2028, then we divide that by 2 again. There's only going to be 1.25625 Bitcoin produced every 10 minutes per block from 2028 onwards. Whenever the halving is, it's usually around about mid-year, May, June, July. Depends on when it comes on that, whenever the block comes on the next halving, that point in time. But the point is this: it's going to get rare and more rare and more rare as we move forward into the future. And I think that, my prediction is 1 million Bitcoin by 2030. But you know what? I could be really lowballing that. And we could see more than a $1 million Bitcoin. But eventually, mathematically, and it's also built into the algorithm that eventually, imagine 2032, there's only going to be, which is the next, because Bitcoin halvings are every 4 years, and then you divide that by 2. Every block, there's only going to be 0.78. It's getting scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. 2036. Okay, now we're talking 15 years away. Not even 15 years, 13 years. Then you divide that by 2. In 2036, I hope I'm still here, there's only going to be 0.39 Bitcoin produced every 10 minutes. Can you see how rare and rare and rare and rare and rare it gets? It's going to be crazy. The longer that this plays out, the longer it's going to get more and more scarce. And also, hey, you still got people that are getting born. Guess what? They're going to want their piece of the Bitcoin, right? 83 million people per year. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. So if the population that is growing, that has already grown old enough, 83 million per year just wanted 1 Bitcoin, there wouldn't be enough Bitcoin to go around. So my point is this. All right, mathematically, it's built into the algorithm that is going to get less and less and more scarce. Right now, the government is doing their thing and trying to alter inflation, and that's an opportunity. That is an opportunity to fill your bags. Thank the government for their policies and for them printing money, because they're causing inflation to go up. They're causing it. And we can take advantage of an opportunity. Causality is influenced by which one event, process, state, or object continues to the production of another event, process, state, or object, where the cause of partly responsible for the effect. The cause is partly responsible for the effect, and effect is partly dependent on the cause. Cause and effect. So these guys are printing money like crazy. Inflation is going up. Okay, let's go back to our diagram. Inflation is going up. What they're doing now is to raise the interest rates so that we spend less, eventually, even out the price, and things go back to normal. So thank the government. Thank the government for doing this, because when people are tight on money, what do? They just only buy the essentials, and one of the things they deem as not essential right now is Bitcoin. So they sell Bitcoin off so we can buy it at a cheap price. This is an opportunity. Causality, cause and effect. So this is what I've done, and I've done for many years, and that is buy Bitcoin when I can on a regular basis. I hoard my Bitcoin. I put it on a Trezor wallet, which I own the private keys, off an exchange. Watch the video yesterday. I talked about Binance. There's some dodgy stuff going on in Binance. If you're going to trade, only trade and then move your money off the exchange. Okay, do not let it sit on there. I have it on a Trezor. I own the private keys. I'm the only one that can access that Trezor because it's on me by person, and I hoard my Bitcoin. So in 2030, hopefully, if Bitcoin gets to $1 million, geez, I'm going to be a very happy man, all right? Because I've been building up my Bitcoin stack, and eventually, look, if I'm wrong and Bitcoin is only like 300, 400,000, it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, it didn't reach $1 million. No, Bitcoin is like 200 to 300,000. I'm still going to be like way ahead, all right? So it's just going to go up, in my opinion, and the government is helping us do this. So take advantage of it now, but have a plan, and your plan should be buying Bitcoin on a regular basis and think long term. Think long term. Don't just buy it now and then just forget about it. Keep on buying it. Think of it as a savings plan. Think of it as a retirement plan. All right, guys. Well, I know it's been a long video. Thank you. I appreciate sticking to the end. It means a lot. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this content, and share it if you can. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey guys, welcome.